Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Geeks 5 Hour podcast. It is officially December 9th, 2020. It is the ninth day and the 12th level, the final level of 2020, that is Jumanji or whatever. I'm still under the weather. That's why I don't have my full energy, but I am back for the final week for our podcast. This is the final week before we go into our break, and then we'll be back after New Year's. All right, so joining me today is the host with the most, Jace.
Yo.
The man that runs the skinny, Sonic.
Hello.
And the one, the only, the infamous, the one that's eating the $45 salad and soup or whatever.
The 45
now?
The $45 soup.
What soup?
For you.
I like it.
I thought you were
What
going to make a
soup?
reference to Big Mouth because I was watching Big Mouth earlier and one of the kids at camp got called soup.
Hey.
Because he didn't want to shower in front of the other kids, so he started letting all the smells, like every smell he had, like mixed together, and they called
And
him
that's how
soup.
you're equating that with me.
No, I thought he was going to make that
You
reference.
bad bastard. Oh my goodness.
How? I thought he was going to make that reference because we said soup.
I don't watch Big Mouth.
You watch Big Mouth?
No.
Big Mouth is great. It's just, it's definitely the fucking most questionable show I've ever seen. But it explains puberty to a fucking T.
I don't like the art style.
You don't like the art style? I mean, it's consistent though.
Yeah, it's weird.
But I mean, Big Mouth tackles everything. Like if you're like straight, if you're a girl, or if you're a guy, or if you're transgender, or if you're like bi, or if you're gay. Like it tackles every like every perspective when you're hitting puberty and you have these feelings growing up.
I like how you put girl as a whole separate like sexual preference.
No,
Girl
I'm just
and
saying
guy,
if you're.
you have
I'm
both.
saying girl and guy if you're going through puberty. I said
Just-
straight.
It looks weird. Just the
Uh,
face just looks weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art style is definitely questionable, but all right, I digress. So in the chat, what's up to Chad? What's up, Gabby and Edgar? And Pachinko's here. Pachinko is here to mess with SJ.
Yep. So it makes
Shit.
my day
What's
go.
up, Edgar? Miss you, my friend. Anyway, so we're talking about Anime Dallas today. But before we do that, let's get on to the skinny with Sonic.
Okay. All right. So for any local people in the area who don't know, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo in 2021 will not be traditionally in March. Instead, they moved it to May. Obviously, due to what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen, so it's kind of surreal that they're doing it in May.
Mm-hmm.
All right. For fans of Cobra Kai, they released a trailer for season 3, and it will be coming out in January on Netflix.
Still behind.
Goku's probably super excited.
I zoned out because I'm sick. What was that second part?
Cobra Kai season 3 trailer.
Oh yeah, I
released
saw
today.
that today. I saw it
It's-
today. I was really excited and happy.
All right.
Just like that. He was that excited.
Whoa.
I'm still sick.
I know.
All right. So the next one is for those who remember the show True Blood. A reboot is announced, and it will be in the works for HBO. No, not enough details have been given yet, but we just know it's going to be a reboot, and it'll be coming out most likely for HBO Max. I think no doubt about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of streaming services, this kind of happened a few hours ago. They announced that iCarly is coming back
Why?
for
Didn't-
Paramount Plus.
Didn't what's her face go to jail?
Selena Gomez?
No, iCarly's with
That wasn't
Miranda
iCarly.
Miranda Cosgrove, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
They were talking about Amanda. I don't know because I know she's gonna
Amanda
be part-
Bynes.
No.
to be fair,
Her name is Miranda. I thought it was Miranda.
Miranda
It
Cosgrove.
is Miranda Cosgrove.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's iCarly. I don't know anything about her going to jail.
But-
I wouldn't
Yeah,
be
I don't
surprised
know.
though.
So yeah, that's gonna. So far, the only ones tag who are gonna be a part of it is Miranda Cosgrove, Jerry Trainer, Spencer, and Nathan Kress, Freddie. Unknown if Jeanette McCurdy, Sam, or Noah Monk, Gibby are gonna be a part of it. So it's early in development. It'll be coming out Paramount Plus. If you don't know what Paramount Plus is, that's what CBS All Access currently is. But they're
I'm
gonna rechange the name of it.
Sick of fucking more streaming services.
Welcome
Damn
to
it.
the
Alright,
future.
That was the whole point of fucking Netflix, was to get rid of the fucking cable bill, and here we are again.
Yeah.
Yep, that's how it
Because
is.
of course, that's how it happens. Yeah, we couldn't get
All right.
fucking hoverboards right, or the cars, or any of that other bullshit, but we got streaming services.
And speaking of streaming services, it is official. Funimation acquired Crunchyroll for $1.175 billion.
I feel like that's cheap.
I thought you were gonna say million. I was about to say I
Nope.
could have bought them.
$1 billion. B as in billion. And one last big news is we've heard about all this stuff regarding the next Spider-Man movie. All these actors coming in, rumors and all that. Basically to the likes of Doc Ock, and then we're hearing Daredevil may be a part of it. And there's been some rumors circulating that both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, they'll be part of it as well. So basically it's gonna be a big ensemble for this next Spider-Man movie.
That's
Even
gonna be
Tom
fun.
Holland himself will be a part of it too.
They got him?
Yeah, they
Whoa,
can't. He's gonna
they,
be.
they got Tom Holland. Well, that's crazy.
Oh my god, it's gonna be crazy, man. And that is the skinny for
Well,
today.
I know for a fact that the only one they have confirmed is Jamie Foxx as Electro, and
Yeah,
they actually already disproved. They already came out and said that what's her faces aren't going to be in it.
what about,
Maguire and Garfield.
yeah, but there is some. They actually recently came out that's there was a recent pic of Tobey Maguire testing out a costume, so that's kind of sparking the flame right there.
I haven't seen Tobey Maguire in anything lately.
That's because he sucks.
Yeah, last time I saw him was on Great Gatsby, I guess.
Yeah, something.
Don't they get shot in that movie?
Great
No, he
Gatsby?
I haven't
Jay
watched it.
It's a book, and then they made a movie out of it. But no, yeah, Jay
good
Gatsby.
book.
I don't remember them getting shot in the book either. I remember a lot of drinking.
No, that's how it
involved.
ends.
No, Jay Gatsby got shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gatsby
Jay
gets
Gatsby
shot
got
and
shot.
killed.
Keep in mind, I haven't read that book since I was like in high school.
Isn't that
so.
a Disney movie?
No,
No, it's
No.
not. Okay.
no. Man, Goku, you really are sick. Man.
No, I'm dead serious. I've never actually seen the Gatsby. I never saw the Gatsby movie, and I didn't actually read the book. I just watched the Family Guy parody of it.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate though. That's pretty much the shortened version of it though,
Yeah,
which is pretty easy.
he
And
gets
also
fucking
that,
killed at the end.
yeah, it's always Brian getting killed in all three of those stories.
And he even acknowledges, like, when they do the next story, he's like, "Wait a minute, I just got shot in the last one," and they fucking kill him again.
And then the third one, he's like, "All right, I got shot I got killed twice. Do you really have to put me with this guy?" And he gets crushed by
Yes, that
as
was
Lenny.
great.
So that is the skinny.
Ooh.
All right, so today we're talking about Anime Dallas. So for those of you that don't know, that didn't see our Monday episode, Anime Dallas was the anime convention, obviously in Dallas, Texas, that just took place this past weekend. And we had talked about it because there was a lot coming from that weekend. We talked about the one guy who decided to advertise that he was throwing a room party and then got in trouble with his hotel. We talked about the convention as much as we could as a whole based on the information we had gotten. One thing that we did talk about was the con chair did come into contact with somebody that had COVID, and he got tested, and he did a 9-day quarantine before going to the convention. I know he did a 9-day quarantine because he admitted it in the podcast that I listened to. What was it called? Con
Job.
jobs. Con jobs.
Job.
That sounds like a
Jesus.
adult.
Con job.
That sounds like an adult podcast.
Yeah,
Con
just
jobs.
throw him under a bus for that.
We're never. I doubt we'll ever work with him.
We'll see.
Not with that attitude.
Seriously.
I'm not working. I don't know if I want to. Do you really want to work with a group that's called Con Job? No,
I
I'm not.
think
I'm
it's
not. I'm
pretty
not
cool,
going to talk bad about them. I don't know that much about them. I don't
You know
want
how
to
many
talk about
Transformers episodes are named that? I don't care.
Con job.
hand
Yeah.
job.
Hey, what?
Get the fuck out.
One job.
Yes, Uncle Ben is going to die not once but 2 times. Laughing my ass off. Tobey Maguire. Thanks, Toby and Andrew Garfield. I'm so glad they didn't do the whole Uncle Ben origin dying story, whatever the fuck they call it, on Spider-Man Far From Home and Homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
Glad they skipped that.
Like,
So
we
glad.
know you're dead. We don't need to see it again.
Yeah, unfortunately, Batman needs to take a note from that book because I'm so sick of his parents dying.
Every time.
The last time they died, they were the actors that were from The Walking Dead. They had the
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
yes, but I'm trying to think of the
And
girl's
other-
name. The girl, yeah, the girl who was dating Glenn in The Walking Dead.
No idea.
Was her name Maggie in the show?
Yes, I think so. I haven't watched The Walking Dead in years. I haven't watched The Walking Dead since they killed off Carl. Once they killed off Carl, I finished that season and then I just stopped watching The Walking Dead. Because I was pissed. I was not happy with The Walking Dead.
Took you that long.
It was going in the right direction until they killed Carl. And then they kind of like tried to kill off Rick, but then like chickened out.
It's like that meme where the car's driving down the interstate and immediately veers off the road. It's like, and we're taking a detour.
Yeah, pretty much. That was The Walking Dead. So we were talking about Anime Dallas, and Anime Dallas is, so there's some information that's coming out from the convention, from a lot of people talking about the convention that happened. Before we talk about this stuff, let's just keep in mind that like we don't have any actual proof. Like we've had, I've already contacted people and I've gotten their testimonies, and they are not. I'm not going to reveal who they are, or I'm not going to share any names or any businesses. And they have said it, but it's a he said, she said kind of thing. So you have to take it all as with a grain of salt, because this is, I believe it's true. I just don't have proof. The way it works in this society is you're innocent till proven guilty. Unfortunately, there are people that are testifying that, some of these rumors are true. So one of the things that happened is somebody had posted. Remember how Anime Dallas was doing it for the vendors and artists who lost all their money and hard times paying their bills? Well, just directly informed by one vendor and indirectly informed by another that the con refused to offer any refund if the vendors canceled their table, didn't offer any discounts because of the extremely small audience, and refused to cancel, which would have given them a chance to get their money back free and clear. Meaning the vendors had no choice but to go and vend to make their money back and give up hundreds and hundreds of dollars to stay home and stay safe. They literally were given no choice by the convention and claimed they were doing this for them. He then goes on to say, how fucked up in the head do you have to be to claim that you're here helping these vendors and artists while making them choose between losing money and putting themselves at risk?
I'm helping them as you chain them to their table. Like, you have to come, though.
It gets better. So one of the vendors goes on to say, if they did not attend, if you had a table this year and you did not attend and you decided to not go, you were blacklisted for the following year.
What?
Wow.
Fun.
So, like, it's not like, okay,
Jeez.
you're missing on a couple $100. That's one thing. But they were going to, I'm not saying, like I said, this is, take it with a grain of salt. But according to one of the vendors, if they did not show up, they were blacklisted for the following year. So they can't go back and try to make money when the convention crowds are back. And that's the main reason why I wanted to talk about it again today, was because, like, that's not right. I don't know if that's true or not. We haven't had a chance to talk to the con chair or get a statement from the convention itself. I just haven't had the time today. I'm going to message them probably tonight or tomorrow and see what they say. And I doubt I'm going to get a response from them. They're probably just going to post another status update like the last convention we had talked to. Like, this isn't the first time we've talked about a convention and then, like, they get all fucking pissed off at us. One convention actually called us fucking Nazis for bad-mouthing them. True story.
We're not allowed to mention them.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about that because, I mean, we offered a retraction. We offered to do a retraction and get their side of the story. But, one thing, there was an entire conversation. And y'all remember that conversation. We're not going to get into in public. But the thing is, like, there's always like these conventions that feel like, oh, and I was listening to the podcast that I share with our group, and it's in the I don't want to share it with y'all because unfortunately the link is in that status that I just read, and I don't want to put their name out in the public. So if you want to listen to this podcast, you can hit us up on Discord or something and we'll send you the link privately, but we're not going to do it over the podcast, and we're not going to promote it over the podcast. But like, he talks about the con chair. You can listen to this podcast, and he talks about coming in contact with somebody that had COVID, and like he did like a 9-day quarantine. He said he felt fine, like no big deal. Okay, it's been 9 days. I think that's enough, right? 10 days is the quarantine. That should be enough. So, but he had told his staff, I might not be at the convention. They understood, but he still shows up. He still goes. He still runs it. He thinks that everything's fine. Oh, we're going to do temperature checks. He says we're doing temperature checks. No, the convention just happened already.
Happened last weekend.
The final day was Sunday. I couldn't believe it. So he goes on to mention in the podcast that the convention would have charged him $25,000 if he had canceled.
The motor
The venue.
dude?
Yeah.
Venue.
The
Okay.
venue would have charged the con chair, the con owner, $25,000.
I wonder if that's actually accurate considering the state of affairs everything is. They've been canceling stuff left and right for the majority of the year. I wonder if that's actually accurate or if that's just this idiot
I think it
trying
is.
to...
I think that part is 100% legitimate because I've worked with conventions to where, like, unless, like, even when it flooded here for Delta, the convention still went on. Like,
Yeah, it's a one. It kind of the water kind of receded anyway as later the day went on, but still,
right, but still there were abandoned cars all over the freeway. That because I remember, like, I got mad at valet parking because my car, I was driving a Kia Soul, and the water was coming up to the door. It was at the door, but it was almost at the part of the door where you could get in. And I'm like, hey, is somebody gonna move my fucking car or not? I had to take off my shoes and my socks and like go in there barefooted, and I stepped on a fucking rock, and I remember like it bruised my heel, and I remember fucking hurting the whole weekend. I'm just pissed at the hotel, and I even yelled at the manager like, hey man, it's flooding. Like, I understand that it's raining hard, and like, but my car is not a fucking boat, so can you like move it somewhere else, or can I go move it? Can I get my keys?
Put a wet floor sign over there. Yeah.
Dude, like it was
Now it's a warning.
Like when I opened the door, the water was an inch away from going inside my car. That's how bad it was.
Also not good because you also don't want your car just sitting in that deep of water
I don't want it to
for any period of time.
So I moved it, and then Delta still happened. I remember driving around Houston, showing like all the abandoned cars, all the fucking people that were trapped. But Delta still happened. Like, they didn't stop it. Like, so hotels have very strict guidelines as to how or why they are canceled, unless it's like a fucking mandate. Like, unless it's something enforced by the city, like an evacuation or like a fucking quarantine mandated by the actual city of Houston, to where we have a curfew like we did in the very beginning of the pandemic. But yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, I would believe that the hotel probably was going to charge him that money, but you're still not giving the dealer's room the opportunity to not show up, or the artist to not show up. You're forcing them to do it.
I don't know if he says this in the podcast. I couldn't listen to him because apparently the guy is a voice actor, but he has a very squeaky, I just kind of like want to punch somebody in the face voice.
Was it the?
You just want to
Put it on
punch
the list.
everybody, man.
No,
Put it
that's
on
not
the
true.
list.
Just
Next year, I'll have the list.
Sean Schammel and Voltaire and Vic.
Porta potties, outlets,
Porta potties,
soda
dumpsters.
machines.
trees.
No, I don't want to punch trees.
But you have.
I've never gone to a fist fight with a tree. I pretended to be a tree.
That's true.
But he doesn't say this in the podcast, but this is what somebody had said. Somebody that works with him closely said, this is information that I got from one of the vendors, by the way. So like I said, just, I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but he did have insurance for the event. The venue required him to get insurance.
So it sounds like he just wanted to run his convention. and was not being forced to shut it down, so he did it anyway.
In the podcast, he goes on to say that that he didn't do it for the money. He wasn't doing it for a profit. That he was doing this for the community, for the vendors. Like, we need an outlet. We need an escape. Also, another thing that they don't bring up, as a panelist, if you had your panels submitted and they were approved and you didn't show up, they would count that against you for the following year.
So they ran their convention under the assumption that there was no issues going on and all their regular rules apply, only with more sanitation.
So one of them, somebody does, an anonymous individual does go on to state that the convention did receive less attendance than they actually expected. They expected about 50% of their actual attendance to show up.
I think we got that from one of the statements that we read on Monday too.
Yeah, they said it was like
they said it was like a 4 to 5 ratio.
They got like 25% of what they're expecting.
It was less than 50, but it wasn't 25%. According to the numbers of the convention, they received a couple thousand, like 2 or 3 or 4,000, some shit like that.
Are these real numbers or Matsu numbers?
I don't know, honestly. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
50,000 people showed up. The biggest convention in Texas. No one's ever had a convention like this.
It's the best.
It's the best convention.
Let me tell you something. I know all about conventions. I know all about cosplay, and this was the best one. Let me tell you something. It's just propaganda. They're making it up. They're just trying to ruin it.
On Monday, I made the statement because we read off the part about they're doing this to help out these dealers and these artists, to give them an opportunity to make their money and have people have an escape. And I was like, don't double down on your claim that you're doing that when these dealers are now coming out with their own statements saying, hey, we had to show up or we would be screwed for next year, which if I was an artist or a dealer in this situation, I would not go to the convention next year. There's plenty of conventions. Go to a different one. I understand if it's like your most local one, but like they just screwed you over this year. Don't go back.
According to what I'm trying to look up a statement one of my friends said.
We did say Matsuri, so that doesn't explain the dog.
A friend of mine, his vendor friend, did say the convention was a complete waste of time.
You probably lost money. You lost money either way. So don't go to the convention next year.
The convention never contacted anyone about refunding their tables at all. So,
we're sorry. Your number you have tried to call has been disconnected. If you're asking for a refund, no. Please stay on the line. An operator will be with you in 7 to 8 days.
So, according to one statement, it says most of the vendors that I spoke to barely broke even, are in the negatives because of that weekend.
Sheesh.
There's plenty of cases where dealers and artists don't make their money on a good convention. So the risk of being forced to go there definitely wasn't worth it.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I know lots of vendors that do really well, especially at smaller conventions. Like, it has to be a tiny convention for you not to do well.
Like less than half of what they're expecting.
Like,
or also like sometimes you would have like conventions where like the artist alley would be like 6 or 5 artists and that's it. You know, most of them are just really that small.
Right, like Ushikon has a tiny vendor's room. Like, it is one big vendor, and then it's just a bunch of like miscellaneous vendors I've never heard of. But I imagine that they do pretty well. I'm amazed that Anime Dallas like the only reason why we're even talking about this is because the con chair said this and that. He's like, oh, we're for the people. We're here for the people. We want to help out. We want to help out the community. We want to help everybody. We want to take care of everybody. We want to make sure everybody's taken care of. And like, you know, it's no secret that the economy right now is in like it's fucking shit. I mean, there's no nice way of putting it.
Yeah, it's doo-doo.
I mean, our economy is in worse shape than our politics.
It's a weird shape. It's like an orange with legs.
It's like a certain individual that looks like an orange or is orange.
It's like one of those crunchy Cheetos.
Cheeto Puff.
Senor Cheeto Puff.
It's all weird shaped.
And Edgar in the comments said dealers knew the risk going into this in the midst of all this pandemic.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the dealers were kind of screwed.
Yeah, they were pretty much given an ultimatum.
Right, because you're not going to get your money back. There's no refunds. You bought your table, you're fucked. Not only that, but if you don't show up the following year when they actually have people there, you are blacklisted. You are blacklisted for a year. So you can't go back the following year because you... And that's kind of bullshit, you know, that's stupid. If I buy my table, I should be allowed to do with it whatever the fuck I want. If I don't want to show up, if I just want to sleep in Friday, I don't want to show up or sell shit, that's on me. Why are you punishing me for something that I decided to do when you already got your money? But the reason why they're doing it, because they're trying to show people like, oh, look at all the vendors that are coming in and showing their support, and like they're not scared. They're here. They know they're practicing social distancing. Let's just put it out there. Just because you have COVID-19 doesn't mean you're always going to run a fucking fever.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have COVID-19 doesn't mean you're always going to like lose your fucking taste or your smell. You know, not everyone gets every fucking symptom. I know that the fever thing is like the biggest one, and losing taste and smell, but that's not always the fucking case. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how they could detect it, is with a fever. But if you don't have a fever, then what are you going to do? And again, you're also asking their statement. What was it? If you have COVID-19, you are obligated to stay at home. Like, we don't fucking listen.
Like, first off,
go
bitch,
anywhere.
you don't put food on my plate, okay? You don't tell me what I'm obligated to do. The only thing you're obligated to do is to stop being a jackass.
Well, they didn't follow that one either.
Let me put it like this. Look, at least the Texas Renaissance Festival offered on-site free rapid COVID test.
They did.
That would have been handy. Like, you could just go there just to get the test.
Yes,
And,
it was free. 100%.
And Edgar on the comments says, yeah, but they shouldn't have bought a table to this con. I think, to be fair, they probably just did. I think they probably would have bought this table before this whole thing was labeled up.
Right.
Because remember, they
they
probably announced this a year ago and all that.
Let's be honest. We didn't think
this
this was going to last this long.
Mm-hmm.
Even those of us that knew this was going to last a while thought by December it should be over. Like, this should be over by like Halloween or whatever.
Yeah, and now
now
we're about
did
to.
what they're supposed to. It could have.
Yeah, now we're approaching a year since
and
March
this
we're
is
about to be.
probably going to last another 6 months. Because even with the vaccine, you need time to. Like, they already did a study, and 47% of the people that they asked, which is out of like millions, said they are not taking the vaccine.
Yeah, some of them don't feel. There, a lot of them with different reasons. Some would either have concerns about it. Some of them don't feel comfortable with it, or some just flat out say, "Oh, I'm not going to take it."
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it.
I'm gonna double up on it.
I don't know if that's how that works, but okay.
I'll take it for everyone else out there who doesn't want to take it. That's not
By
how
the
it
way,
works.
the
I'm
vaccine
aware.
has a 90% rate of actually working. So, I mean, if
And
you want to
even
go out and
then,
have
we don't
fun,
know- we don't know the long-term ramifications of the vaccine that they've developed for it either. So that's
it's not going to
another
turn you into a
risk.
zombie. That is legitimately one of the fucking concerns.
They're probably just trying to track you. That's what they're trying to do. It's like, they don't need a vaccine to
First
track
off, ain't
The
nobody
NSA does
here
not
worth
need it.
fucking tracking. Y'all don't. You guys aren't spies. No offense. Maybe Sonic. I don't know. Sonic might be a spy.
you. It's kind of sus. I was looking at his phone.
I know, right? But like
Yeah.
a lot
I
of
mean,
people that are
the-
afraid of being tracked by the government aren't even that fucking interesting. They don't do anything. They're afraid to like fucking speed.
They're the same people who have their Bluetooth on their phone on all the time too.
Yeah, so they kind of just gave it themselves away.
They don't
in a
know
way.
how to make their profile on Facebook private. They don't know any of that. They're worried about the government tracking.
They're the
them
ones that
when
see
they're
those fucking
easily accessible.
contests at the mall and then put down their phone number and email for a free car they're not going to win.
I've done that before.
And next
I
thing you
regret
know, you're getting fucking 10 messages from a website like, "Hey, you need a loan?"
You're getting
I
10
deadass-
Mexicans.
I deadass thought you were gonna say 10.
No, I was trying to say text. I was trying to say text, but
Text
my
mess.
tongue slipped. No, I was trying to say text messages.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, messages. Yeah.
Like, you get fucking spam messages
Yeah.
now all of a sudden. So you made me go on a fucking tirade.
No, it's okay.
I forgot
We
what we were
didn't make
talking
you do anything.
No,
you
it's
just
just,
do things on your own accord.
It was
People are
just
stupid.
you were just pretty much saying how people are reluctant to take the vaccine, but yet they're the same people who would, for example, write their name or put their numbers and all that stuff.
They're
Put it
the
out there
same
like,
fucking people that write down, looking for a good time in a bathroom stall, call this number.
or it pretty much self-dox each other.
That's why
Self-dox
people
themselves.
keep calling me. I shouldn't have put my number on that wall.
Well, I mean, I'm really bad at
I-
calling people.
Or just to
did-
spite them, just put your number of your ex, and they.
Well, that's looking for a bad time.
Yeah, they're saying, "Oh shit, you're gonna be the first person to overdose on COVID vaccine."
I'm gonna be so de-COVIDed. I'll need COVID to balance it out. I don't.
Just drink some,
not-
just drink some antifreeze, and they.
You just take
how
a
that
shot of
works.
A
Lysol.
little bit of Windex, some Lysol, just right in the bloodstream. Clear it right out of your system.
That's exactly right.
We are not doctors. Well,
But our
one of us
president,
was.
our president said to do it, so it must be legit. Like it must be.
Yeah, but if you call them, you'll be like, well, here, the Laxonic posted an image. It says, for a good time, he calls the number and he goes, wow, first a water park and now this? You weren't kidding. This is a good time. Did you know you're the first person to call because they're hang gliding?
Yeah. I seen that. I seen that meme, that comic.
Oh yeah.
God damn it! Who put the toilet in the Coke again?
In the coke room.
The
I
Coke
don't
room.
do. No, you don't do coke in the bathroom.
You do Adderall?
Meth. Meth in the bathroom.
What's for
Isn't
breakfast?
Adderall just Coke?
Meth.
Anyways,
No.
fucking
What
Adderall
are
is
they
just
just-
cocaine.
Yeah, it's cocaine now.
It's legalized white man's cocaine.
But yeah, people aren't going to take the vaccine, or they will, or then you won't have enough people that are properly taking it, because then you have the damn anti-vaxxers out there, the same people complaining about not wanting to wear a mask, but they don't want to put any effort into stopping this thing from spreading. They just want it to be gone.
Look, I'm
Like,
not worried about the
Matt
fucking
fucking Magic
anti-vaxxers. I'm not worried. The anti-vaxxers also believe the Earth is flat. They also think
Or
that
hollow.
the fucking virus was manufactured by Amazon in China and Bill Gates. They also
Gates
think
runs the internet, though.
5G was also behind COVID-19. I don't think people understand how 5G internet works.
Not that way.
I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about the fucking weebs that went to this convention who already, and we've talked about this many times, but they don't bathe. A lot of them don't put on deodorant. A lot of them,
Yeah.
like, I thought the face mask thing would help because people would be forced to smell their own fucking breath.
Yeah, and also, like, with the mask and all that, if you don't, like, clean it up, you get, like, acne. It's easy for acne, and also, like, you would have to, like,
Right.
easy.
You have these,
Gross.
and like, you know, you have the fedora wearing fuckers. They're like, where's my hug? You got these guys that are just like
It's in
randomly.
the fucking bathroom.
It's for real, you have people that are just running up to each other and hugging each other and picking each other up and just like.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you
Yeah.
had the one guy advertise that he was throwing a room party, and they were gonna like the smokes were free.
Yeah, it's really funny, the screenshot that I think it was you showed us. It showed it, but then, like, his replies, his name wasn't even covered.
No, I just because I only shared it with y'all.
Yeah, yeah. But we actually know we essentially kind of know who he is now.
Y'all know who he is because I don't.
No, like in the name, like we know his
okay,
name now.
You
okay.
could dox them.
Yeah, we kind of doxed him. So whoever did the screenshot kind of doxed him.
Well, we haven't shown any screenshots on the podcast.
Yeah, no worries. But, like, you know, when we talk
Yeah,
about it.
unless y'all shared it.
No,
in
it's
the
on Twitter
Discord?
too. Like, yeah.
Did
it's
y'all
on
share it
Twitter.
on the Discord though?
No,
No.
no.
But did I share it on the Discord?
No.
No.
Would you want to share it on the Discord?
I don't give a shit. The Discord
Dox
is
this person.
the Discord is no different than the Facebook group. Like, I'm not going to share it on the podcast because the podcast we can get in trouble for. But the Discord, that's free range.
That's special.
Yeah, for you. Yeah, that's why you should join our Discord. Wink, wink.
All your meth
Nudge,
memes
nudge.
you want.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Edgar, apparently Adderall is like meth because it comes up
I'll
with
be back.
methamphetamine.
Methamphetamine. No, but like, I mean, you had the guy that was advertising. I don't know, was he giving away free smokes or he's like, do you want the smoke? Because I use that phrase too, like, I want the smoke. It doesn't necessarily mean smoking. But
It's free?
it's free. I mean, there are a bunch of fucking con goers. I mean, you're gonna imagine that. By the way, Eric, you just commented. Give me a call once the podcast is over.
Or do it now.
Oh, no, not now, because my phone's about to die. I use my Bluetooth headphones to talk on my phone. I don't like holding my phone to my face because it's got germs.
It's going to wash your phone.
Clean your phone.
I do.
And charge it.
I rub hand sanitizer on it.
I don't think that's how you're supposed to clean a phone.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, that's how you can clean a phone. You can rub hand sanitizer on it.
Like clean it like you would clean anything else with like emery cloth with cleaner.
Well, it's a waterproof.
Yeah, but
it's water
hand
resistant.
sanitizer counts.
Yeah.
Like, it does count.
Cool.
It kills germs.
Obviously, you don't want to like dip your phone in a bucket.
I was like,
yeah,
but if
for
you
real.
took if you just like
Wonderful.
wiped everything. I mean, I have alcohol swab, so I'll just wipe it over everything and get it in and then take it out of the case and wipe it inside and outside the case. But hand sanitizer's like okay in a pinch.
Diana says, big announcement. Sony made a deal to get Crunchyroll. Yeah, we talked about that on the
put
skinny.
that on the skinny.
Yeah, we brought it up on the skinny. I honestly
I'm sure
don't
it
watch
was like
enough anime to give a shit.
It will mean that my Funimation account will actually mean something. You didn't watch shit on that damn thing. They got no shows.
Yeah, which is crazy because Sony owns Funimation, and now they're gonna own Crunchyroll. So,
Yes, it's all coming together.
So
Will they
does
put
that
it together like a Crunchymation
Crunchymation,
or a Funny Roll?
or maybe they'll become exclusive on the PlayStation.
God.
Exclusive?
Yeah, just like
Sure.
you know how Bethesda got being bought out by Microsoft, and now all their games are possibly going to be like exclusive. Anyways, so we're talking about what are your thoughts? Like, we haven't gotten your thoughts, SJ. What are your thoughts on the convention, the con chair as a whole, like just in general?
I think that's kind of a shitty move. I mean, it's one thing if you're going to try and have a con. If you actually were able to do like social distancing, limited people, that's fine. But to do that and tell vendors you're going to be blacklisted next year for canceling, even though vendors have the right to say they don't want to put themselves at risk, just like con goers have the right to say they don't want to put themselves at risk, I think that's kind of bullshit. And I don't like how it's like some people with the when they were talking about all the evictions and stuff going up, and a lot of like landlords were like, oh, well, you know, some landlords were doing the right thing and they were like, we'll just forego rent for a while.
Right.
And some landlords were like, well, that's too bad. You should have prepared for a rainy day. And some tenant did the same thing, like, well, why didn't you prepare for the rainy day?
Which, by the way, since you brought that up, I think it's very important to mention to everybody that the government protection that stops people from being evicted from their homes because of the pandemic and the economy.
Ends in a few weeks.
It ends in a few weeks. It ends on New Year's Eve.
Right. So I think that's a load of crap too. Everyone, and I've heard that a lot. Everyone needs to like prepare for a rainy day. It's super hard, especially with the way our economy is, even before the pandemic, for a lot of people to actually have savings account and can prepare for said rainy days. But at the same time, it also goes to landlords and stuff do need to have that too. Everyone really does need to have a little bit more empathy, and you just don't see that.
What's up, Sonic?
I was gonna say specifically 3 weeks from tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, yeah, that fucking sucks.
And it's not just that, like people that are self-employed that have unemployment benefits,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things, a lot of these programs end on New Year's. So, like, a lot of people are about to be evicted from their homes. And it's not like, I like how the convention just like, we're doing this for the community. We're going to do this for the community. We're going to make sure everybody's taken care of.
Oh my god, shut up.
Spot on impersonation. Best I've ever heard.
It's the best. Let me tell you something. I know all about impersonations. Do all the best ones.
You are an impersonation. But anyway, like
Well, no, he's talking about doing this for the fucking community.
Yeah, side
No.
note, Marisa Marsh and the new Animaniacs does a really good impression of him.
he did. He
I
did.
haven't gotten that far in that.
You need to
Sorry,
watch
it's the second
it.
episode, don't worry.
I can't watch it. The Cobra Kai.
Yeah, you have till January, so you have 2 weeks.
January.
I'm
Yeah, you
catching
gotta
up
move.
on
Yeah.
Big Mouth.
Fuck Big Mouth. Fuck Cobra Kai. You need to watch some goddamn Animaniacs
Whoa,
right
whoa,
Jesus,
fucking now.
Whoa.
Whoa,
SJ's
that is
passionate
good.
about
Them-
3 things.
Why would you say something so hateful?
Four
Three
things.
things.
Four
I got
things.
Big Mouth. I was
Transformers.
watching Big Mouth.
John Bailey.
Gabriel Iglesias. I'm about to go rewatch Supernatural. I gotta
All
finish
of it?
DuckTales. No, they uploaded the final 7 episodes on Netflix. So I kind of
Oh, okay.
want to see them in 4K.
Rewatch all of it.
So when I watched them on my phone. I watched like 3 episodes illegally, and then I watched the rest on the CW app.
Jeez.
That's technically what Anime Matsuri says when they are not returning refunds to people.
Well, we knew
They
that.
haven't come out and said they're not returning refunds. They just haven't done it because like we only have a few people doing this. It takes time to process this stuff. Like unless you personally bitch them out on social media, you're not getting shit.
I hope 45 gets kicked out by the military on January 1st, 2021.
Hell yeah. You will.
I mean, anyways, the con chair talked about doing this for the community. Talked about how he brought up the fact that a lot of people are struggling financially, that are struggling so hard to make ends meet. But that doesn't make any sense on his part because he's not refunding anybody's money. He's saying it
Exactly.
like people are going to show up at this convention and they're going to make thousands of dollars. They're going to make 6 months worth of wages in a single weekend. I'm sorry, but this isn't fucking Anime Expo. There's no fucking way.
I sold so many drugs at this convention.
Hey.
I made
Even-
6 months worth.
even-
of
Thank
money.
you, Black Sonic.
Even what?
Discord.
On Discord.
He says, "Lady is right. Go watch Animaniacs." He's talking to you.
Yep.
No, not happening. It's already, the interview already happened, and even our guest didn't watch it. He's like, I'm not watching that
I
shit.
know. I'm kind of like
He had a reason.
salty about that.
He didn't make the show.
So he's like, I don't want to watch it. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
that's
I like how
sense.
he's like, it's fine if he does, like, he didn't say it literally, but he pretty much said, I ain't watching this shit.
kind of.
That's what it kind of came across as. I was like, that's perfectly fine. You
Right.
watched, you
Watched
watched
that
the first
interview.
episode. You don't
I
like
watched
it.
that
Fine.
interview, and he's like, I'm not watching this shit. I watched the first episode. I was like, and then I rolled my eyes at it. That's
Good. Don't
that's
put
pretty
yourself
much
through
his
that torture.
expression. No, I'm talking about him.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how it came out. Like, that's how he fucking said it. And I was just like, thank God I wasn't the only one who didn't watch this shit. Because I watched the first
He's
episode, and don't get me wrong, I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. Animaniacs.
We didn't say that either. None of us thought so either.
All of our views, I liked it. In fact, I
Yeah.
liked
As
it
soon as I saw there were no
more.
good feathers, I was like, ugh.
We
I
all
liked it
agreed
more.
it was like
It's just
it had its moments and it had its downfalls.
it's a whole bunch of it.
All right,
But,
we keep getting off track.
Wow.
With the,
We're not
The
on
show
it.
always when has the show ever been on track?
Crazy
we're trying to be
train.
on track because this is very important.
We're,
To talk
off
shit about a
track kind of
convention
thing.
we're possibly never going to work with in the future.
Yay! But
How is
like,
that important?
you can't say you're trying to do this. Everyone's in a pandemic. You're losing money, but you refuse to give them refunds. They have
would-
to come and
I
not
would
make any
like-
money
okay.
at their convention.
I don't want to listen to that goddamn, what was it called? Concrud?
Con job.
On job.
Con jobs? That sounds worse.
What are you even talking about? Are you
The-
talking about the podcast you linked us?
Yes.
Yeah. which
How do you
none of
not
us
even
listen.
know the information you're linking us?
I don't remember the name. I was listening to the podcast, but the name isn't like our name where it's all over the fucking place.
It's 2 words. It's 6 letters. What is so freaking difficult?
It's just
So play
Conjob
on
sounds like
words.
Conjob sounds like a podcast you listen to when you're trying to steal from like fucking Walmart.
That's the joke.
Yeah, that's
Because
the
cons
joke.
like conventions.
I like
instead
how
of
if I
cons,
do
like
that
an
joke, it's
ex-conven-
bad. But when a white person on another podcast does it, it's fine. It's funny.
What? No, I appreciate their name.
Conjob?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's clever
Why?
again.
because it's a play on
It's-
words.
Yeah.
A con job is a thing, and their podcast is called a con job based on conventions. It's a play on words. I like it.
But this is Goku. You can't ever do play on words with him.
No, it just sucks.
Words are hard. I didn't say the podcast was any good.
No, I didn't say the podcast was bad. I'm just saying the name sucks.
Well, it's not your show, so
Get them on here. We'll have this conversation.
Like, trust me, this podcast has gone through several names too.
It's called
we were
Sit Down.
we were
before.
called Anime Unrated, and then we went to Nerds Forever, and that doesn't fucking flow off the tongue. So we called it Geeks Forever.
shut up, Pachinko.
Chinko always got to be as the furry who.
SJ's the furry who shoves Animaniacs down the fan's throat. LOL.
Why is your pachinko an old man?
Huh?
Why was your pachinko an
Yeah,
old man?
what's up with that?
SJ loves Animaniacs.
Sounds like Goku when he's sick. That's low energy Goku.
No, I didn't sound like an old man gasping for air.
You are an old man gasping for air. Oh my god.
No, I'm not. I'm not gasping for air.
If he was, he wouldn't be doing
Not
it
now.
right
No, I was never gasping for air. It's just
that's
really
good.
hard to breathe.
I
now.
wonder how. I
But
wonder
I can
how
still
many.
breathe.
How many?
Hola,
little-
mama.
She can't hear you.
How
Also.
many interviews this guy?
That's
must have
what you're
done.
supposed to
I
say
think
hi
he's-
for us.
I think he's only done the one interview that I noticed that I found. It's
Oh, the regarding the chairman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, he's only done. That's the only one I've seen. I'm sure we're probably gonna get some within a few weeks. Within like,
I wonder if we can convince him to be on this show.
I mean,
Just ask.
He's a voice actor, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Just
well,
ask.
The perfect ploy then.
I was
I
gonna say,
feel like-
you want me to ask?
no. I think it's better that we don't have him on the show because we
Shay's
have
in charge of
our
Crunchyroll.
listeners can be fucking. What's the word? Unforgiving,
ruthless.
ruthless.
Maybe
Yes.
backlash.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I thought we were just listing wrestling. Like, promotions.
Ruthless aggression.
Yes, they can be.
Backlash.
They will come after him like Brock
WrestleMania.
Lesnar.
Wait, naked what?
Judgment Day.
There's a thing at the Renaissance Festival campgrounds called Naked Jenga.
hmm
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think you mentioned that before.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think I have when I talked about
Yes, you
it.
did.
Something on stupid people do.
Yeah, you did talk about it.
You mean
Um,
people that like to
not-
have fun.
Not interested, thanks.
Yeah, I'm not.
Being
I don't give a shit
forced
about
to get
Naked Jenga
completely
either.
naked.
No, no.
I'm all for. I like the Jenga where like they'll have the giant Jenga stuff, and they'll have but it's like kind of like a truth or dare Jenga. So they'll have like things written on the block. So when the blocks fall, you have to do whatever's on it, or not when it falls. Like when you move the Jenga, you have to do one of the sides before you put it on the thing.
Right. So that's how Naked Jenga works at Renaissance. You pull the block, and then whatever it says at the bottom, you have to do.
Mhm.
And if you knock it over, like there's
You
one
lose a
block
piece of
that says
okay.
cannonball, where a cannonball will knock over the. But if the whole tower falls because of you, you
Mhm.
have to assemble it while naked, while nude.
Doesn't sound fun.
It doesn't sound fun.
They don't force you to go up there. Like you have
You
to be
just said
willing
the
to.
last time we had this conversation, they force you to do stuff.
Right. No, you have to do. You are forced to do whatever the block says, or if you knock it over, you're forced to get nude. If you participate, you don't have to. They don't force you to participate. They tell you, like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Like, but when you come on the stage and you fucking reach your dumbass for one of the blocks and you knock it over, you kind of forfeit your right to, like, not do it. And if you still decide that you don't want to do it, that fuck this, they'll ban you from ever fucking participating in one of their things ever again.
Really missing out there. Could never
I find that judgmental.
Well, I
You
mean,
have a right
there's
to
more
change your
people
mind.
spectating than actually participating.
I want to see someone.
Yeah, because nobody wants to just get like randomly naked.
You
You
would
want to
think
see
that.
a naked person.
You
You
would
just don't want to
think
be
that.
a naked person.
I don't think the people that are at Ren Fair, I don't want to see them naked. I've already seen them partially naked walking around fair. I don't want to see them
There's some
fully
people
naked.
that are like, hey, and then there's some people who are like, oh my god.
Exactly.
This dude knocked it over the first one. He was, poof.
There was one chick who just ran over and knocked over the fucking blocks on purpose.
See? But I bet that person wasn't the most like smoking hot thing
I don't
to
know,
ever
but
grace the planet.
I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't normally go to Naked Jenga. There's a lot more interesting things going on at the campgrounds, like
Precisely.
Drugs.
Anyway,
Like-
what else?
Jesse dressed up as Barney on fire. Well, that's pretty interesting.
It was pretty hot.
Was costume burned off?
For like a minute.
No, for real. Like the costume was like halfway fried off of my fucking skin.
We
and shit.
know.
It's melted to you.
No, it wasn't melted to me.
It's like poly. Was it like? It had to have been a poly something. It
It was
Barney.
just regular, like shitty fabric.
Yeah. It's probably some type of plastic.
I was just sweating my ass off in the fucking suit so much.
You were very hot for a brief amount of time, then very cold.
I never got cold. I got drunk.
You got
Alright.
drunker.
I mean, I can't go to a con sober. I can't go to Renaissance sober.
Well, you should go sober, and then
You should try to go sober.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, when I get there,
Not
when I arrive, I'm sober. I don't
Okay.
in the night
You
sober.
should try to stay sober.
Why?
I will not vouch for that decision.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Whatever.
I'm not about to be a bunch of. I'm not about to be around a bunch of fucking weebs that smell like they haven't bathed in weeks.
It's a self-defense mechanism.
What does that have to do with drinking? The drinking's not going to make it any better.
Yes, it will. It makes me tolerate it more because I can't fucking smell.
I can't tonight.
So look, just because you don't drink at cons and you're boring and doesn't mean
I hate
The
it when you
drinking
two
is-
fight.
I'm not fighting. I'm just stating the fucking obvious. Like the drinking helps with the fucking smell.
Well, yeah,
Whatever.
because it dulls all your senses.
Yeah.
Sense of humor, sense of smell, sense of direction.
I don't know. That I don't know about sense of humor. We went fucking mattress surfing down the fire escape. Somebody
Common
broke
sense.
a bone.
That's the one that you could lose to.
Yep.
I never claim to have common sense when I'm intoxicated.
Oh, it's
He
certainly not
doesn't
gonna help.
have common sense when he's sober.
Yes, I do.
Wow. We're watching these two.
Like I
argue.
said.
Rare sense, uncommon sense.
All right, Jace. Both of us need popcorn just to watch these two argue.
Man, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet.
Popcorn.
And whose fault is that?
Food wasn't ready yet.
Oh, well, then go eat.
No, I have to be here to make sure that everything goes on without it. I don't know.
That ship has sailed, Jace.
Aren't like I
Make
gotta
sure this ship stays ported.
Afloat. Yeah, stay afloat.
I mean, I don't really care what anybody thinks about me. Honestly, I have.
Well, I love you. I hope
Eh.
you care about that.
Damn,
Damn.
don't lie to me. Most people have lost common sense. Yes, I agree with Dustin. David says I hate
It's
when mom and dad
It's a
fight.
special skill.
I'm not fighting. I like for me to actually
That's-
argue with
that's always-
somebody.
That's always our first denial. It's like we're not
No.
fighting.
I don't know because like the
Yeah,
way
no.
I argue, I don't know. Have you ever actually been there when I argue with people? I start cussing and like the hood in me comes out, like motherfucker.
Oh
this,
shit, he's
motherfucker
getting
that.
ghetto.
That's for real. I get ghetto. I get fucking ghetto. I don't give a shit. No fucks given here. The fuck Canada. Anyways, fucking weird ass message Canada sent me. Honestly, like I get ghetto when I fucking argue. Last time I tried to help somebody down the stairs and they shoved me, and I almost fell down the fucking stairs. Like the hood in me came out and I like threatened to stab the guy.
So now we're going down the stairs.
I'm like, bitch ass. I was all kinds of bitch ass this, bitch ass that. Dumb fuck this, dumb fuck that. I even whipped out a knife.
Shit. It's always packing.
Well,
Strapped. Pack. No, neither one of those right.
I've learned that when you go to parties in the hood, you gotta have something on you because shit can go down.
Rowdy.
Yeah, no, for real. I've had you know how many times like I've had somebody stick a gun in my face?
We know of at least once.
No, it's like 3 times at least.
3. Good. Okay. I'll put it on the list.
Like yeah, for
It's a different list.
no, there
Stats.
was a party at some fucking abandoned like field farm kind of place, and it was fucking packed with
That was the first mistake.
like, and it was like somebody had called the fucking cops, and like they got a bunch of like I want to get out of there too, so I lied and told them I had a warrant, and they fucking got us out of there to another fucking party.
Yay!
And the second party is where the guy whips out the gun on the other dude because they're about to start fighting. Good times. I miss college.
Those sound like good times. Those sound like horrible times.
They were in college, so it's whatever.
Still count. You don't get like an extra life after college. Like if you die in college, you stay dead.
That's what save points are for.
SAO.
That's what save points and checkpoints are.
If you die in the game, you die in real life.
Yeah. I mean, that's just. I don't know. It was just. That's just, I was just used to it. Like that's how it was in high school. That's how it was in community college. Yeah.
So I was bringing up the fact that how many times this guy has done these type of comments about him being good for the convention or trying to help the people. Like that doesn't. If it's like 3 days, what's 3 days? When did the podcast?
The podcast aired yesterday.
Yesterday, so he
the
probably,
podcast I think it might have been recorded on
sounds like
Monday
probably then. So if he ends a convention and immediately goes on a podcast to talk about it, he probably understands that the social media is blowing up about him being terrible. He's trying to save
he brings
face.
that up. He brings that up, and he talks about how people are referring to him as a murderer, and how people are saying that if people get sick and die, then that's on you. He brings that up. And he talks about how, like I said, he talks about some people calling him a murderer, and he talks about how that's not right. You know, that's very uncalled for. He talks about how, like, you know, he was trying to do something good for the community. And people,
if that was the actual case, that'd be one thing. But if, again, the other allegations are true that the vendors weren't allowed to cancel without repercussions, then I think that the commenters are actually justified for making those comments. I think, yes, some of those comments are thrown around too easily because of the anonymity of the internet and everything. But when it's actually justified, I feel like, given the circumstances, no, yeah, if you actually did not want to, if you actually said that the vendors couldn't stay safe and do this and do that, and they're blacklisted from ever coming back, or even for a year of coming back, then no, yeah, if people get sick and potentially die, that is on you. I don't like people throwing that.
Give them no option.
Yeah, when you give them no option, I think like that. I think like the comment is justified. When it's just like people just making stupid decisions, that's a whole different thing.
Deserve dumb things happening to them.
Right, but not death threats and shit like that.
No. That's why I draw the line though on that. It's like, don't threaten someone's life about things, because when Cheeto Puff got COVID, and it was like, oh, I hope it dies. Like, I'm not going to say that. It's not something you want to say, and no one really deserves that, except for probably a few people in history that do. But don't say that. That's going too far.
Yeah.
You can make the statement like, if someone dies from going to your convention, then that death's on you. That is kind of true, because you had the opportunity to give them the chance to back out. Mm-hmm. Now, if someone attended your convention as a guest, I don't. That's probably not where I would say you have the right to say that they caused that death. Although you are giving them the venue to come and possibly get sick,
Hmm.
you're supplying them with the means
And
for
if
this to
you,
happen.
as running the convention, cannot provide proper, um, like I said, limit the amount of people that are in a room at a time or the building limit, actually make sure everything is socially distant, make sure no one's getting too close, make sure they are keeping their masks on. I mean, it's fine to take your mask off just for like a picture as long as you put it right back on. Um, but like if you see people wandering around without a mask for an especially for an expanded amount of time, no, just no.
Yeah, it's on you for not letting them
Hmm.
be properly enforced. You're not
Right.
enforcing your rules, and that's your fault.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how many convention? Well, they had no issue with the people showing up because no one did. They had a fraction of what they were wanting to get, and
It's amazing how people think like people are just going to storm the doors.
we're giving them what they want. It's like, well,
Like,
they're all
yeah,
broke,
but
so they're not going to come
one,
spend
they're
money.
broke, and two, they are trying to be more cautious. Most people are reasonable people, and they're like, no, it's still not totally safe to go out and just have a fun time, especially inside of an enclosed building where, yes, I'm sure you're not we're not the only ones to agree that quite a few convention goers do not have the best hygiene routine. So
And
I'm sure even they're like, why would I want to do that? Do I really think that some of these people are going to have improved on this during this um during this?
Accurate too. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at this stuff for Anime Dallas, and out of 100 comments, there's one person defending the convention, saying, "Y'all stop, y'all stop, never go to another con or Walmart or anywhere. Stay locked in your home and live out of fear. Leave these people alone who want to just live their lives. This is not going away."
What this is
dumb.
not going away.
The pandemic.
You know why it
They're
doesn't go
trying to
away?
say the fucking
You
pandemic isn't
you
going to go
assholes
away.
are not following the rules.
Yeah,
That's why it's not. People who don't follow the rules then complain that the rules aren't working.
right.
That's fucking why. That's why this shit wasn't over in October. Because no one did what they're supposed to. They wanted to go do their family gatherings or giant conventions. They
Spend
wanted
time on the beach at the summer because it's
yeah.
summer and it's like, who the fuck cares?
I'm only celebrating once. Like, yeah, you are celebrating once. So is 50,000 other people that are at that beach or
Mhm.
at that convention, that concert, that
This
something.
this
And now,
person
how many of
goes.
those people are now in the hospital or worse, dealing with this?
This person's out here calling people that are trying to argue against them. I'm not going to say their name, but they're calling some people crybabies. They're just saying that yeah, they're just calling people crybabies and saying that they're just being like hateful, and like, they need to mind their own business, and they're
Well,
and
at least to mind his own business if it's a him. But
Probably
like,
him.
who are you to like judge how other people are rightfully? Because this is the kind of attitude that we have seen multiple times where this kind of person's like, oh, the rules don't work, it's never going away, or whatever, some bullshit. And then they just go around living their life like normal. And then it turns out they're the ones probably infecting people. It
this
takes at least 2 weeks for the thing to even show up as symptoms, if that.
it's
So
they go on
screw
to say
you.
this. They're arguing with somebody. I'm not going to read the whole. I'm going to read their last statement. And this goes on forever and ever. But they say, "Cool story, bro. Keep it up. Live in fear, but the rest of us are over it."
Who's the rest of us?
I
There's
think
quite a
that
few more
individual.
people. Yeah, there's a few more people that are still choosing to stay at home.
Hmm.
Somebody says that the temperature checks makes no fucking sense. I've been saying that
True.
for a while. because you could be asymptomatic. You could have the virus and not show symptoms just yet. There's just so many fucking things that they're saying. There's one person, and there are some people on here that are defending Anime Dallas, saying that they're really happy with the way that they're quarantining. Oh, here it goes. I found it. Doing their best to try and make Anime Dallas safe as possible for those who did attend. My troop and I were amazed at the precautions taken, as well as how serious the staff got when individuals were not wearing their mask correctly. Even seeing artists and vendors sanitizing merchandise between each customer. One thing I'll say is that, well, it doesn't show the entire thing. I got to click on it. But one thing I will say that I was shocked when attendees tried to come up and hug myself or other troop members or tried to touch us inappropriately. Please be respectful of others in space in the future as we try our best to social distance. My troop and I are taking this time to quarantine and soon get tested. I am delaying going back to work myself as well as delaying others. Okay, that I have a.
But that's different. That sounds like someone who knew their shit.
That's
like
stupid.
this isn't someone who's like dissing other people for choosing not to go. They were still doing their part.
No, this isn't the same person. This is
right. That's what I'm saying. That's a different person, and that's a person that at least, okay, from what they were able to see, they saw like this is what's going on. That's fine. But again, we don't always see what goes out. There's what happens actually during the con and what happens before and after and behind the scenes. We don't always get to see that. And that's the part I'm talking about is that's fine. If on the surface you can see, here's what the staff and the volunteers and the vendors and the attendees and the guests are doing, that's one thing. But then it's what goes on in the background that you don't get to see. And if that's true, that again, the head of the show was like, vendors are getting blacklisted. If they don't appear, they're not allowed to cancel. They're not allowed to do this or that. That's wrong.
Our problem isn't we're not saying that this convention, because we don't know the procedures they did. They could have followed their procedures 100% and did everything they could to prevent any issues from coming up. What we're saying is that the stuff that happened behind the scenes, that their convention head was exposed to COVID, decided to show up anyway. They're not allowing these people the opportunity to not show up, and that's what we're complaining about. Is that we are complaining that you ran a convention in a pandemic because we're against it.
It's not even so much as the convention. My bitching is that, this guy, like they didn't, not the guy in particular, but the convention as a whole didn't give people the chance to say no.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's one thing if you were actually following all of the guidelines, you gave people an out, and you were and if that's true, they were very strict on people not wearing masks. Like, no, put that mask on right this damn second and all of this and keeping everyone socially distant. That's one thing. If you're actually following all the rules, then you are doing your best part. And maybe you can actually, if something did come up and one of these people did get it, at least maybe then you can eliminate this as a source of, oh, well, it wasn't from here that they caught it because they didn't touch anything, do anything. Like, they were actually following the rules and the guidelines. That's one thing. But we're talking about the other stuff. And we're talking about the people that are like defending Anime Dallas by calling everybody crybabies and stuff. Like, fuck you, dude. That's rude. Like, people have a right to choose to go or not go. And I think more people need to be like, yeah, I don't feel good. I'm going to skip this round. How dare you be so selfish that you're like, you're not even going to fully enjoy it anyway if you're sick. I've been sick at a couple of conventions. I was at New York Comic Con and I got fucking food poisoning with one of my best friends. We stayed in our fucking hotel room. We did not have the energy to be walking around the show. And I missed out seeing on the Justice League cast. I was fucking pissed. So,
damn.
Yeah.
We could have had them as guests.
Could have had them as fucking guests, man.
Fucking food poisoning.
But we were just too sick. We could barely keep our heads up. So we were like, fuck this. We're just going to like take our naps. And we just stayed in bed all day.
In a convention in this pandemic, like how they had it with minor people, that few amount of people in that large of a venue, because the Hyatt is where it was at, is actually fairly big if you have that small amount of people. It's not going to feel like a convention. It's going to feel like you're at an empty mall.
Did you see the pictures?
Yeah, there was there we showed a few of the pictures that were. There's the video clip of the guy who was in one of the panel rooms, I think, or it might have been like their main stage.
It was
I
just
Sure,
like
that wasn't like
Animazing.
another-
It was kind of like Animazing Con all over
Yeah.
again with the dancing
It's-
Jesus.
super spread out. They had plenty of space because no one was there. Like that's fine, but it's not going to feel like a convention. No one's there. Your guests aren't there.
The
Your friends
real
aren't there.
the real issue here is that there are a lot of people defending the con that went to the con, but I feel like they have to say something positive about the convention, because the moment you say anything negative about any kind of like not just any convention, but there are some conventions, if you say anything negative about them, they take it the wrong way, and next thing you know, you're on their shit list.
I mean,
No, that's not the way to do things. That is, I'm not saying that they don't do that. I'm just saying that's a terrible way of doing things, because this is your chance. Because again, bottom line, conventions are a business just like anybody else. And every business needs to take both positive comments and negative comments and use them as ways to grow. If a lot of people are like, this was really good, like if any business did this one-time thing and everybody was like, this was really awesome, do it again, they're going to do it again. But when you have enough people bitching about something, whether it was a vendor who was rude or a cosplay or a guest who was, again, maybe too handsy or whatever, staff members that are rude, yeah, anything like that.
Voltaire is a little too cunty.
Whatever. Any negative issues, you need to take that and be like, okay, we need to try and see, is this a one-off situation? Is this potentially just somebody trying to start some shit, or is there a problem that we need to nip in the bud?
Yeah, but
And you need to be a responsible business owner and take all the comments, both negative and positive, and you need to be able to use those responsibly. Don't just be telling people that they're babies or they're this. Don't be trying to shitlist people just because they didn't have the best time. And yes, you're not going to please 100% of the people 100% of the time, but that's still no excuse to not listen to the negative comments and see how you can improve.
yeah.
That's really good, actually. That makes a lot of sense.
I like how you guys are surprised.
No, I like.
All right, Goku, your rebuttal.
Unfortunately, the issue is this: a lot of conventions are privately owned, and there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of pettiness in the community, and a lot of these new owners for the New York convention, like whenever you see a new convention, if it's not already part of another convention chain, if it's privately owned by an individual who decided that they wanted to invest their money into starting a convention, a lot of the times is they are going to be fucking petty. They are going to be like, oh, well, this group said this, they didn't like they didn't like this, they didn't like that, and it happens a lot. Even if the convention is owned,
I've seen that.
even if the convention is owned by like Ikicon or another convention group, they're like, some of the staff members will go out of the way to make sure that the convention is run, or it's like, done in a way to where they like it. Like, look at the I don't want to say the name of the con. It was a convention in Austin that was run by this one events director who would only bring in a lot of the fucking panels that they liked, and they were really shitty and boring. And that's just my opinion on those panels. But whenever we walked around and we talked to people, and like we asked them like, hey, what do you think of these panels? They're like, oh, they're okay. I mean, if you're but they're mostly fangirl panels, and that's what this individual liked, was a lot of fangirl panels, and they didn't really like our panels, so they didn't approve any of our panels, and they gave us a bad rep. And then that's when I became friends with the vice con chair of IkiCon, because he found out like firsthand,
Obviously.
like, yeah, my panel's on unorthodox, but at the same time I'm on time, I start on time, I'm done. Like, even setting up, breaking down, whatever. If you tell me to be out of there by 4, I'm out by 4 o'clock. Even if I have to set up stuff, and we usually do. Sometimes we have to set up like some equipment and shit. We're everything's gone by 4. You tell me get the fuck out of there by 4, I'm out of there by 4.
Where are you that the sun is coming out right now?
That's my TV.
Yeah, he's got lights on in there.
It's
No,
because I was
that's
watching.
From that side, you got the light straight
The
on
light.
the sun straight coming in on your face.
So when this light does like a certain screen or certain color, that's why it comes out. But if I turn this off, it'll go back. See how it changes?
Yeah, it's not as bright. But it was like the sun just coming up around your face.
So
but yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying too about
right.
the
So
new
No, I mean,
quality.
like, that's, no, I know, but
and you got
that's
to
still,
understand that in this environment, it's so competitive. Like it is like especially as when you do press or when you do panels, whenever you're at a convention, it's so easy to get blacklisted. Like it's easier to get blacklisted than to get on there. Like let's bring them backlist. And I'm not saying it's difficult. Like when you host a panel and you do a good job, it's so easy to like get brought back and get more content. But you make one fucking mistake, and next thing you know, you have to start all over again. And that's how it is with Comic Blues is guilty of the same bullshit. I had one panel, we had a Ninja Turtle panel, and we were 3 minutes late because we decided to put on the cosplays for the fucking panel, and we constantly kept getting stopped. And we were 3 minutes late, and they canceled the fucking panel, and then they put us on a list to where we had less content the following year. But we got back. We got our fucking shit back together. Like, you know, like, hey, okay, you guys, we're gonna give you another opportunity. You're gonna have the same amount of panels as you had before. How many panels you had? You had 15. Okay, next year we'll give you 15 panels again.
Damn it, Goku, your methods are crazy, but damn, you're effective.
So like,
but right, but that's fine. But like, you know how like you got like the Bar Rescue and the Kitchen Nightmare shows? They need that for conventions. We need to find that one per.
Fortunately, that would you got to understand that there is so much shit that like Akon at one point, like their staff were going through a civil war. They were fighting. They were arguing. Like people were leaving and quitting.
2 years ago.
Well, it was in 2016 when this was going on. This particular
fight. Last time I've been to Akon was 2017.
But you don't hear about it because it's a lot of inward fighting. Same thing with San Japan. Same thing with some of the other cons. Like, there's a lot of fighting.
Which, that's fine. Everyone's allowed to have creative differences. The thing is, why are they fighting, and what can they do to change it to make it a good environment to work and make it a good environment for the attendees to want to spend money?
Because if it's making money, they don't really see a reason to change. Because it's like with Matsuri in a way that
but that's
they
crap.
make
like,
money, but they constantly recycle new people because they can't get returning guests all the time because they hate it. So they bring in people from overseas that've never heard of them.
Yeah,
they
like
bring in guests that they actually treat right.
And
they'll
porn
just keep
stars,
bringing them
apparently.
back. And porn stars.
Right. For example, was Caitlin Glass. I think this is what she said in 2014 when she guested it at Matsuri. It was like the last time she went to be a guest there. And also, they actually had Matt Mercer. And apparently, like, they didn't tell him about this. Like, he was supposed to be the MC for like the closing ceremonies, and he had like no idea. And he was like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And like, after that, he never went back.
I think when that happened, like John called him out on stage, like, "Well, Matt was supposed to do this, but he bailed on me." But Matt had no idea about it.
Right.
So that was
right.
That's
so
like, if a convention makes money,
the story is that they had failed to tell him that because they wanted a way, because his contract, he has to do like certain things for them to pay him the full amount. And they, like, I'm not saying this is true, I'm not saying this is 100% legit, but based on what I've heard, they failed to tell him that as an out.
Sounds about right, but who knows?
Right.
But
the reason why, but the thing is about a lot of conventions, and this, not Matsuri. Matsuri is a fucking one thing. One thing I will give Anime Matsuri. Matsuri is a fucking train wreck, but John and Denise will do whatever the fuck they want. Okay, that I will give John
train
and Denise
wreck
that.
On fire.
It is a fucking literal dumpster fire when it comes to organization and getting shit started on time and whatever. But John and Denise will fire you on the fucking spot, and they have fired people on the fucking spot. That is why it's so fucking disorganized. They have fucking fired people like right when that person needed to be doing their fucking job. And it's happened because I worked for my friend during 1 year at Matsuri, and I had the flu or some shit, and I still showed up anyway. I'm running like 101 fever, and they are still working me like a fucking slave picking strawberries. And next thing you know, I find out that the guy who I'm supposed to be fucking helping with got fired halfway through the weekend, And I understood why, because stupid ass never showed up for anything, didn't do anything. He was running around dressed like a goddamn vampire from Twilight with a corset on. Stupid fuck.
Well, that's different when you're not doing your job. But when they're firing people for doing their job just because it's not doing it the way they wanted it to be done, that's different. Because I know there are some people that they are working for these conventions because they enjoy helping out with these conventions and stuff. And I mean, I've asked to help volunteer for a lot of conventions. And
Right, but for Anime
it's stuff
Matsuri,
that,
you're
right.
expected to work 24 hours that whole weekend. So from Friday at 12 until Sunday at 6, you're expected to put in 24 hours, and you have to treat it like a full-time job.
Mhm.
And you got to understand that there are only 5 positions in Matsuri where I'm getting not even 5. There's probably only like 3 they get paid. The rest of it is on a voluntary status.
Like a
You
voluntary.
Let's get off the
staff,
Matsuri train wreck.
You
We
are
don't want to
you are
talk about
considered
Matsuri.
staff. You are treated as staff. You are given the responsibilities of a full-time job, but you are not paid. You are not even given a hotel room. I think some people still have to buy their badge.
Good times.
They have to put like a deposit on it. Not pay the full price, but they have to do the deposit. Like a fucking panelist.
Oh,
So,
Well, I'm not defending Matsuri. I've never been there before and I don't give a shit. But like, not all conventions are created the same. Again, I think, again, there does need to be some sort of, at least a baseline. Because yes, no convention is ever 100% successful. But as far as I'm aware of, at BotCon and TFCon, for instance, none of that bullshit went down.
that you know of.
That I'm aware of, true. But I actually did
I'll be back.
bleh. I actually do know the higher ups at BotCon when they were still functioning, and did not really give a shit like they do at some of these other conventions, in the sense of they didn't rush you to like stop talking to the actors and stuff when they were going to panels. They were like, oh, if you guys are still talking, do you mind walking with us? Because we're on the way to a panel. So that's, again, another reason why I have the relationships I have with a lot of these voice actors, because I got to still I got to literally walk and talk with them. It wasn't stalking. It was stalking when it was at Alamo City Comic Con and I was following like 20 steps behind the volunteers. Like, you can't actually stop me. But
they can't stop you. You're unstoppable.
I am.
I'm gonna get my autograph.
I don't go with these plebeians. I can go with the actual people. I know them by name. But
Don't go with
anyways.
these plebs.
But like the conventions you go to, apparently no issues. They
Right.
probably also listen to people's like input.
Feedback
Yes.
and all that.
Yes, they were very nice, very helpful. But again, like the last year at BotCon, like all of a sudden I got hit with, I've never really been sick at BotCon. It's always been the other conventions. But the last year at BotCon, I actually got slammed with some sort of like 24-hour virus. It practically killed me. It was bad. My folks noticed it, my friends noticed it, and they brought up some of the staff people and they were like, holy crap, Rachel, are you okay? You don't look so good. Like, because my face was just lit up, I was smiling all the time, but I just could barely pick my head up, literally just like that. And they were like, are you okay? What do you need? And so we were like, I just need to get back to my room. But again, we were like down the street technically. And one of the staff people actually went to our hotel, grabbed a wheelchair, and brought it back to where we were having our Saturday night dinner and whatever, and was like, here you go. And I was so embarrassed about it, but they were like, no, just get better. And the next day they were like, are you feeling okay? Are you any better? It's like, I'm getting a little bit better and things. But that's the kind of people they were. And that's the kind of thing, there's just a night and day difference between certain conventions. Some people, yeah, it's a business. Yeah, it's just privately owned, but there are still people who know what they're trying to get out of it and what they want to do with it. And they're not just in it for the dollar, they're in it for the fans.
Sometimes it's just circumstance, though, because like some conventions, the con, like with with BotCon, I could see the owners being more involved with the guest aspect, because you have like these guests that are just kind of like on a higher note maybe than your average anime voice actor. Like, you gotta understand that like the whole convention thing is a well-oiled machine, and so the con chair will pick and choose what they are directly involved with. I'm pretty sure like with the guest thing and all that, and some of the events that the guests were in, it seems like it ran as smooth as fuck because they were there. But I promise you, like a game, like if they had like a gaming room or something else going on, like there were other departments that were like fucking falling apart. And that's not always the case with conventions. I'm saying that sometimes could be the case.
No, that's fine. You're not wrong in that aspect. But again, we knew that I know the people that run it all the way to the top. I know exactly the president of BotCon at the time. I knew him. I knew his wife. I knew like the next 5 people under him. They were all on the floor dealing with either the guests, the attendees, or some other stuff. They were in the con store. They were here. They were wearing dozens of hats. It wasn't just, we're going to sit back and count our money. They were like, what can we do to make this even more enjoyable for the next time? They always, any issues that came up, they sent out, Facebook posts or whatever. Hey, we apologize that this didn't go according to plan, but we hope everyone still had a great time regardless, blah, blah, blah. They did the best they could, and they understood, like, here's what we're bringing to the table. And a lot of us just went with it. We still enjoyed ourselves, and I did my part to help out any way I could. I'd be like, oh, are you trying to relay a message? Okay, they're talking. I got you. So like I did like my part here and there. I volunteered to help out. Hey, can I help with this? Can I do this? Anything like that. Not even to get like, but again, it wasn't to like get anything. It was just to be like, that's the kind of person I am. I'm a helper. And I also think partly why I'm able to have all these relationships is because that's just me. When you allow, attendees to just, again, treat the guests like actual people, stuff happens. And this is why I've got the Rolodex I have.
Yeah, it's a little more difficult for me to meet guests and make friends with them. Not for the simple fact that, like, the whole Voltaire thing,
he was a cunt.
No, but even then, like, that was, like, even Goku was a cunt to me, but, like, I didn't start shit with him. Like, I just walked away. I was like, all right, bitch, you want to be an asshole, fine.
Stan, no, I completely agree. I could name a couple of voice actors, I've seen it too, that they think they're, God's gift to whatever. And it's like, like Paul said in the interview, it's like, you're only here at this convention because the fans think you're that amazing. It's it's because you put in the work, but it's because we wanted you to keep putting in the work that you're even here.
And when wasn't there an issue like that for Space City Comic Con? It was like the Cast Sons of Anarchy.
Oh yeah.
There was some issues.
That's because they hadn't paid them at all.
They didn't. Not just them. It was also like what was it? They also had like the 2 Harp sisters. They didn't get paid. The AV the people working the actual convention itself didn't get paid, or not the convention, because it was at NRG air, right?
It was NRG Stadium,
right? So like the people that worked for the stadium didn't get paid.
Yeah,
there was a lot of stuff. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on, and one of my friends used to work for NRG Stadium, so she told me a lot of the stuff, like especially the 2 Harp sisters, like they didn't have anything because nobody paid like the AV people. And so the fans were like, how much do the AV people need? Let's just do this. So they did like a collection plate, and they paid the AV people right then and there so they could
but with the Sons of Anarchy, half of them didn't show up at all because they hadn't paid them, not even the deposit.
No, yeah, one of the other actors literally got off the plane and his manager was like, turn the fuck around, the check didn't clear.
Right.
He was saying, like, he was trying to get him to go back on the plane. No, I got that. I completely understand that. But I know also some of the guys were like, we're still pissed about this. We're trying to do this. I think like Ron Perlman was one of them. He was like, I'm still here for the fans. but I want my you better find my money like today.
You tell him, Hellboy.
Right. Well,
Yeah, Rob
with,
Perlman.
with our group, the reason why we haven't been able to meet a lot of guests was because I think the past Delta, 2019's Delta, was the first convention we had been to where we had like less than 5 panels. I think we had 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the first time we actually had like more than an hour of free time.
Mm-hmm.
And because you got to understand, like with Geeks 5 Ever at Comic Palooza, we had 22 panels.
Mm-hmm.
That is unheard of for anybody. That is unheard of for a group. That's unheard of for guests. No one has that many fucking panels. And we had some bullshit panels. Like we were just submitting whatever the fuck we could. Like whatever would stick to the wall. That's whatever we submitted. But that just goes like 20, and each panel was an average of an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I didn't even attend all of them. There were a couple where I could not be there physically for them.
Yeah, it was like different
Mm-hmm.
different circumstances and all that.
Yeah, because they would schedule like 2 of them at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to pick and choose. And that's just the
pretty
kind of
tough, man.
fucking group. That's just that's how it is. Like,
Right.
I am constantly busy. Like, I am hosting panels, events.
No, and that's fine. And again, a group like us that does that kind of thing, I feel like that's why you also have, again, the staff that you have. If your forte is running panels and coming up with really good material, then do what you do best. And same thing with like Jason, Sonic. I feel like you guys would be the best at running the panels versus me. My deal would be more running around with like the guests, stalking them, as some of you would say, and actually forging relationships. Be like, hey, want to be on our show at a future date? Like that's like, that's my skill set. Is
President of Guest Relations.
totally.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's my skill set. So like that's fine. That's why you have like, here's the president, who's in charge of like, creative advertising and blah, 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 blah. I think like that's fine. You can have that too.
I brought wristbands.
See?
It's not
Who's
just
the guy-
that. It's also like building, because we do
Right.
the press thing, and whenever we do the press, like there are legitimately some people I become friends with. Like we did press at Anime Austin, and I was like, so when you do press at some conventions, they give you like a list, like, okay, who do you want to talk
Sure.
to, and how much time do you need? So we requested some really weird guests, like, hey, can we interview the DJs for the dance?
Mm-hmm.
And the fucking DJs were so happy because they'd never done a podcast interview.
Sure.
They actually invited us to
Right.
a show, like some kind of thing in Vegas. I forgot where it was, but it was some kind of major DJ competition show, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like DJs all around the world were coming. So, there's other things that I have to like, okay, so it's like at Delta, whenever we decided to have lunch, and as we're walking into the fucking restaurant, one of the staff members was like, hey man, someone canceled their panel. Would you
cover it?
like to have that? Can you
Mhm.
cover it? Would you like to cover it? They pretty much asked us, like, could you cover the panel?
Right. And that's, again, that goes to showing like your merits, because they know we're the draw. We actually do bring in, I say we,
Oh,
Geeks 5 Ever brings in the guests. You guys know what I mean.
The brand.
Norris.
The brand
Yeah,
brings
the
in
brand
guests.
brings in
Equals
audiences. People like seeing what Geeks 5 Ever brings to the table. And that's fine. Yeah, it's not just, you're actually putting your money where your mouth is, what little you have of it, but you show it, but you actually just do it. And that's just what you do. That's like that's your best thing.
Right. Knowing where to put someone to where they're at their best skill is important. Where,
Exactly.
like, a lot of these conventions, they're just like, fuck it. We'll just bring in as many people as possible, and as long as there's a person to stand in that corner, we're fine.
Right.
They have something to say about the convention. Nah, they're gone. Don't need them.
Yeah.
don't need
Right.
your
It's not just hosting a fucking panel, because anyone can host a panel, honestly. Like, anyone
can
could
host
sign up for a fucking panel,
That'd be
and
good.
you can sit there and you can think you're doing. And I've seen people that have really good fucking ideas and they have nobody show up. And I've seen people with some dumb fucking panels to where they have a packed room for the first 5 minutes, and then after
It starts decreasing and all that.
yeah, after 15
This
minutes
was a
there's like
terrible
10
mistake.
people. There's like 7 people. And you can ask Sonic. Sonic's been to my panels, and my panels have always been like very. It's not
Fairly
just the
full.
Sonic, is this true?
Yeah,
like-
I've been to
like
several.
We've been over this before. Too.
There was one where he attended the dating game, and in the
Mhm.
dating game, I encourage everyone to start chanting and cheering and booing people off the stage, and like he was there, he was in the group, he was there. He even tried to start his own chant.
Yeah,
Yeah, he tried to start his own chant, and the thing
I was,
is,
uh,
I encourage people to get involved, and it's not just you're not just gonna go up there and present a panel. Even when I do the educational panels, like the how to make your own panel or starting your own podcast or live stream, or even the Dragon Ball panel, I have to add to it because you have to have that personality. You have to be able to go in there and hold people's attention because they are gonna fucking leave.
I'll give you another example. This was at Matsuri in 2014. I could tell you, like basically what Goku's saying. Sometimes the audience, like the interaction with the audience, can make or break a panel. An example was Matsuri. I went to a live Pokemon battle. I went to like it was getting some noises. It was getting like attention. A lot of people were focusing, and then it wasn't until like there was like, oh yeah, we can't. This one part is like, oh yeah, we can't do this, and it's like, come on, we want to do it. And everyone started cheering, like, do it. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I stepped through and yes, and everybody was doing it. They're like, yes, and they're like, okay, fine, we'll do it. And everyone's like, yeah.
We did it. We peer pressured them.
Right.
Yeah, and then they randomly chanted Daniel Bryan on a Pokemon panel. That's how big Daniel Bryan.
No, that happens, and that happens a lot. Like, there was one time at Onicon, there was a fucking who's one of my friends now. He cosplays Raikage from Naruto, and he's always fucking trolling during the fucking show. He's always trolling. He's always fucking heckling, and I'm literally standing there and I'm telling him, hey, you in the cheap seats, shut the fuck up. But it's part of the fucking show. Like, you have to interact with them. You have to get them involved.
And also that Matsuri, that one year the parents leaving
Told
during
off
the
the
Pokemon. Yeah, that was a big. A lot of people were telling me, it's like, oh man, that shit was a highlight. Was that part of the show? I'm like, no.
And that's what that happens a lot. Like, I'll have somebody like a fucking child
telling someone off. Yeah, that sounds better.
No. I actually didn't tell him. Like, the only reason why I told him off was because he called me an asshole.
Children's. This is for children. How
He's
dare
like,
you
don't
call
know
me an
shit.
asshole?
You're like, you're an asshole. You don't know shit about Pokemon or Digimon. It's a fucking kid show. And then I'm like, you know what, motherfucker? Nobody told you to have kids, okay? In front of everybody, I was like, nobody told you to have kids. They're called condoms. Apparently, you don't know how to use them.
Put out game week.
Pull out game was weak because he had three kids.
So on top of that, like I said, I told y'all, BotCon was mostly a family-friendly thing. But that being said, of course, there was that one or two questions per panel, like if your character could say whatever the heck it wanted, what would you say? And we've had some instances where they literally just let everything out, despite there being little children in the room.
I've been holding this in for years.
Legit. So
Optimus, calm down.
yeah, literally Optimus, calm down. So yeah, there was also like I showed you guys like the last couple nights, that clip of somebody did that animatic of Animaniacs doing Back to the Future. So I found the original video. So it's at a Terrificon last year actually, and it's this thing they have called Twisted Tunes, where they have all these voice actors, and they'll do scenes from movies, and they'll just read the script as these characters, and it's the first freaking scene, and it's Yakko and Wacko being Doc Brown and Marty, and there was a little bit more to it, but it was just great because they're like, yeah, we're sorry that we're kind of like destroying your childhood, and we see that we can see and hear that there's some children in here, so be warned, we're going to be saying some stuff because it's Back to the Future, and stuff happened, and as far as we could tell, there wasn't any complaints. But again, yeah, like I feel like that's up to the parents if they're okay with their children hearing suggestive language.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think
I understand you're trying to cover your butt. You don't want to be like in that situation, but I feel like it's also the parents' responsibility. Like, yeah, I mean, we're in the society where a lot of kids hear the language that we technically weren't supposed to hear until we turned teenagers or whatever.
right,
But-
but when you
So-
submit for the panels, they ask you for the rating. They ask
Sure.
you have to be very specific with the rating.
Right.
Like, is this is this an adult contest? Is this teen? Or is this
Mhm.
parental guidance? And you have to list,
NC-17.
like, if you even cuss once, you're supposed to let them know.
Mhm.
That's why, like, I'm very particular about that. Like, if you're gonna host a family friendly panel, that's what it has to stay as. It needs to stay family
No, I
friendly.
understand.
Like, but I mean, if you're gonna, like, because I'm like, even with the Pokemon panel, like, we didn't cuss. Like, we don't cuss.
Mhm.
The
It
if
was
the
mostly
audience cusses,
the audience.
the audience, if they cuss, I can't control them, but I can give them like a warning, like, hey, cut that
Mhm.
shit out. Like, I don't say
One
it
more
like
cuss
that.
word, and I'm turning this panel around.
And like, we had the
Right.
Delta HCon Idol competition, and like Blastoise came on there and started cussing, and I had to disqualify him because he made one of the contestants cry,
God
Which-
damn it, Blastoise.
Oof.
which I fucking got in trouble for because I'm responsible for that. But
No, yeah, absolutely. But again, I feel like once you've given the warning, if again, you should do like what Sound and Fury at Ren Fair does, like what some of these other panels do. Like, you need to say, hey, we're warning you right now, there's language, and I see there's some kids here. You have been warned. If you don't want your kids to hear suggestive language, take them out now, because I don't want to hear about it later. But you've done your part once you've given the warning. It's the same thing as like the Deadpool movie had a plain as day rated R rating, and people still brought their kids to it, and then were surprised by like the language that Deadpool used and all the stuff. It's like, you were warned, you just didn't listen, and that's your damn fault.
Mhm.
So again, I understand, yes, you need to do your part as the panelist, but then once you've done your part, it legit is on the attendees, and that's their responsibility. It is a parent's responsibility to monitor what they want their kids to see and or hear.
Not here to babysit your kid in my panel.
Exactly.
Pull them out now because you didn't do it before.
like I said, it just depends on the
I was thinking of that
panel.
joke while y'all were talking.
It just depends on the panel itself, because there's just way too much black and white.
And in a rowdy crowd, like, you could tell them beforehand they're gonna start cussing. Now, like, all these kids can be pissed off at you. But like Goku, you run these panels and you take responsibility for them because they're your baby. These are the things that you go there for. You're not going there to hang out with people. You're there to party, and you're there to run panels. If you're not doing those, you're bored off your ass. So like, your hands are always on every panel you do. Like, it's your panel, you're gonna be 100% responsible for it, and that's why you work yourself so hard doing it. But if you couldn't do it, you would make sure that this is going to be ran by someone who's responsible enough to do it and is good enough to do it. Otherwise, you're not going to have a panel. You're just like, no, if I can't do this, or if it's not being ran to a standard that is up to your standards, you're not going to let them do it, which is your responsibility. It's like a convention wants to run their convention to a high standard, then it's their responsibility. They can't just run a convention, have it go to shit, and just say, well,
I mean, I've gone to other panels and I've cussed at their panels, as long as it wasn't my
get
panel.
revenge. You're an instigator. Like,
Well, no, because one of them was a
Have you
Hitaya
met him?
panel.
oh,
One
that
of them
makes
was a
sense.
Hitaya panel, and I'm not gonna sit there.
Can we cuss in here? No.
I just blurted out fuck.
fuck.
I just went in there and blurted out fuck.
Yep.
This is
Sounds about right.
fucking boring.
I was like, for real, I was like, this is bullshit. This is
Sounds
fucking
about
bull-"
right.
I said, this is fucking bullshit.
Oh,
And everybody
brother, this
gasped.
thing fucking sucks.
Nobody cares.
Shut up and fuck.
No, seriously, I yelled
Which is
at, like,
something
no,
really funny.
I yelled, this panel is more boring than church, and then I stormed out.
Praise Jesus. Hallelujah.
Or imagine me like with today, like with anime, so I was like, oh my god, someone throw a fucking anvil already. Fucking anvil. Throw a fucking anvil.
There
Or a
you
pie.
Boring as shit.
a lot of panels, unfortunately, are ask a cosplayer, ask a nation,
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a lot of Hetalia panels that do that.
and they'll
Or ask a hero.
ask
or,
a ninja, ask a Smash character, and it's always the same bullshit question. If you could hook up with anybody from the
Yeah.
cast, like who would it be? And then if you don't say what they want to say, they'll ask you the same fucking question, but with more like
trying to rephrase it.
yeah.
Like 20
Okay, if you
questions
could hook up with
refined
any
things.
male character
Mm-hmm.
or anybody of the same sex as you, who would it be? Like,
If you could hook up with any character with a mustache and with green and wears overalls, who would it be?
if you could hook up
gonna
with
say
anybody,
Luigi? Is that what you're gonna say?
You have a penis, so if you could hook up with anybody else with a penis, who would it be? And then like they get mad if you like, no.
Mm-hmm.
None of them.
None of the above.
If I could, I choose not to.
If I could, I would fly straight into a ceiling fan.
Sweet release.
Sweet.
I mean, and that's just fucking toxic as fuck and
Mm-hmm.
it's fucking bullshit.
But you run a panel that's entertaining.
And I
And you
try
want it
to.
to be ran a certain way because you're responsible like that.
It's a
So
lot of
when
trial and error.
I'm trying to bring it back to somewhat of the topic is what I'm trying to
I
do.
mean, we
here.
never really left the topic. We're still on
Did
the
we?
panel.
But like
topic.
if a convention doesn't have to listen to the input from other people. And just
No.
like the convention or Anime Dallas, they don't have to listen to the bad comments. They can listen in their echo
Well, obviously
chamber
they're
of
not
all
going to
the good
listen.
things
They're
they did.
obviously not going to listen to the bad fucking comments because if you look at the fucking comment section, there's 500 comments, and I guarantee you that 450 of them are fucking horrible.
They're
and
all
they're-
about how bad it was.
And there's like the 5 fucking people that are posting 10 comments each that are like, "Oh my god, you're just living in fear, and you should let people do whatever they want." And this con
That's
is
their
like,
echo chamber. They're just going to listen to those.
they're just gonna fucking listen to the 5 fucking people. And like this guy is just like upset. He acts like the community is stabbing him in the back when he says shit like, "Oh, I can't believe they look at me like the bad guy." Like, what the fuck did you expect?
It's kind of like that Eric Andre meme where he shoots Hannibal. He's
Yeah.
like, why are people looking bad against me?
That's like,
Why y'all mad
that's
at me?
literally
I'm right.
that's literally walking up to the community, kicking the community in the dick, and then wondering why they're upset.
Mm.
You did this to yourself. That's why we're upset.
He's like, "I don't understand why you're mad at me. I'm just trying to help. You kicked me in the dick."
I'm just trying to make sure that these people have a place to come in an enclosed environment, really close to each other, and spend their money to these dealers and
I
artists
understand-
I wouldn't let leave.
He should have just
I'm helping
fucking, and I understand. Look, and I get it. I can understand why the fucking, from an asshole point of view, I can understand why they didn't offer the refund option. Because if you're trying to host an event, a con, and you have,
No people.
if you have no fucking vendors show up, that's just gonna make you look worse.
Mhm.
So, as a convention, we need vendors, and if we don't offer the refund option, maybe, just maybe, people will fucking show up.
Right. Then you do the whole, like, if you don't show up, then you're also not allowed to show up next year, which is why I say,
And it's not just the
Don't
vendors.
go next year.
That's not just the vendors, though. If you're a fucking panelist and you didn't show up, and your panels are on the schedule and they were approved, then you are also blacklisted.
so I think just don't go next year and just don't do it, because Texas has a plethora of conventions that you can go to that fill in that little void if conventions ever start up. If they don't start up, then we can go to any convention, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, conventions are going to start back up the second half of
eventually.
2021. And
Yeah.
then, 2022, we should be back to normal.
COVID 2 Electric Boogaloo. COVID 2021. 21? We COVID 21? Yeah, between.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's based off the year.
when you think about conventions as a whole, I could see Comic Palooza postponing again. Like, I think Comic Palooza is going to postpone one more time. But I think Anime Matsuri, we're going to see an Anime Matsuri in 2021.
Oh.
That was the announcement. They were going to do 2021 and 2022.
I don't think they'll cancel again. If they can get by, they'll do it.
They're getting by on the fucking money they refuse to refund.
Mm-hmm.
And just like they did, the only reason they canceled last year is because the city made them.
Right. And they were already, I think, honestly, I think they already knew that they weren't going to fucking happen because they weren't even listed on the schedule. The Georgia Brown has an event schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't even on there.
Everything is canceled. Go home and try again next year.
Tell me about it. All right. With that being said, that's about all the time we have for today. Does anybody have anything last to say about Anime Dallas before we call it a day? I'm pretty sure, hopefully, I hope to God that they don't have more fucking news tomorrow. I don't want to find out that 100 people died or got sick. What did you fuck. What did you have to say?
I just had a closing statement.
What is it?
Show Anime Dallas that you don't appreciate what they did by not going. This year, next year, just stop going. That's how you stop conventions. You just stop going. Sonic, SJ, anything?
I'm good.
No, it's pretty much, yeah. It's all good here. I think we kind of already talked our piece.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go to this shit convention. You feel okay there, Go-Go?
Yeah. Just wait a minute. What just happened? Oh, fuck. What just happened?
Just
You
sign
need
it
to
off.
go to bed.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Oh. Good night, everybody.
Oh, you got it. Goku, click to end the stream.
Just give me a second.
Okay.
Shit. Okay. I think I got it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow, and then once again on Friday. I think.
Two of us aren't going to be here Friday.
Well,
Yeah, no.
I'm working on a replacement.
You can't replace us.
Rude.
What the fuck do you want me to do? Just sit here and stare at the camera?
No.
For Friday or for tomorrow?
Just for Friday.
I mean, we'll be here tomorrow.
We'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, we were talking about Friday. Like Friday, you're not going to be here, so I got to come up with something. All right. Anyways, bye. I have a headache.
Bye.
Bye.